working on it. Oh, yeah,
Oh, you want my?
Oh,
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, hear me now?
Yeah. I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Let me button up my shirt.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I might be 2 sheets to the wind, I don't know. I'm here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Rick.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Rick, we're just running a couple minutes behind, so we haven't officially started our meeting yet, but wanted to do an audio check with you, and Mike is joining us. He's one of our board members, but joining us via Zoom also.
Okay, all right. Yep, I can hear you and I can see you. Can you hear and see me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see you, Rick. You look good.
Rick, are you going to want to share anything, the screen, or I can pull up the documents that you sent as well?
I can either do it, or if you think it might work better for you to pull it up with technology, that's good too.
Okay. All right.
So
sometimes that the multiple sharing seems to throw the Zoom for a little bit of a wrench. So I'll plan on doing it. You can guide me. You can guide me to whichever sections or pages you'd like to reference. That's okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll start with the regular financial statements, the big one, the audit report.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Kyle.
Just to let you know, I have another meeting that's supposed to start at 6, but I think we can get through it by then.
We'll move fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The February 24th meeting of the Central Empire Park and Recreation District is hereby called to order.
Recording in progress.
This meeting is called to order. If you can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Conflict of interest?
None from me.
Michael, conflict of interest?
No, sir.
And none for me. Correspondence?
There's no correspondence in the packet this month.
I fear I didn't have extra time. I didn't get my packet. Okay. Employee of the month, Lauren Fisher.
Mr. President,
I'm sorry, did I miss it?
you skipped public comment.
Oh, public comment. Is there anybody signed in for public comment? Thank you. And is there anybody online who wishes to comment? Okay, no correspondence. Lauren, front and center. Lauren. For those of you online or who will be watching this later, Lauren is one of our most experienced and dynamic aquatic fitness instructors, bringing years of physical education and aquatic training to every class she teaches. She leads our popular water volleyball program and HIIT, is that right? Aquatic fitness class, where her superior knowledge, skill, and enthusiasm create workouts that are both effective and genuinely fun. Beyond the pool, Lauren is a talented ceramic glass fusion and metal artist. She serves as a pottery teacher and one of our beloved co-den mothers of SEPRD's Pottery Studio, where she supports students, manages kiln firings, and keeps our pottery supplies running smoothly. When she's not teaching, learning, or creating, Lauren enjoys spending time with her husband sailing on the Puget Sound during the warmer months. That sounds like fun. Golfing, playing pickleball, and making memories with her grandbabies. Lauren is truly a valuable asset to the district, and we are deeply appreciative of her loyalty, creativity, and incredible range of talents. Lauren, thank you.
Yep, I have a gift card and we have a little certificate. If you want to sign,
Let me sign the certificate and we'll be good.
Thank you.
you're welcome. Congratulations.
So, Lauren, congratulations.
Teaching your class at 6.
What's the class at 6?
It's, called Hit IT, so it's
Oh, yeah.
a high impact, 30 minutes in the water of resistance
I heard a
training.
good review. I had a friend that took one.
And
Went
then
to-
it's finished with quiet time, IT, meditation.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Oh, hi. Sorry about that. That was pretty nice.
And, welcome.
Thank you. No conflict for the record, which
Oh.
is needed.
Audit report, Rick. I have some questions.
Rick, hang on, we don't have you're not muted, but I can't hear you yet. Oh, now I can. You wanna try again?
Hold on.
Oh, hold on. Yeah,
Time out.
Skylar's messing with speakers.
Sorry, it happened, I don't know what's happening. It's on the poly system and it was working a minute ago when we tested it and now,
Isaiah?
it's pretty faint.
You got the A-team coming in to help.
All the way up. That's not a problem. Poly studio. Words are good, right? So I could try a different chord input.
What was working before?
It was, I know. Go ahead and try to talk again. Rick, you wanna?
Okay.
Oh, there we go,
Can
now we got you loud.
can you hear me?
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Isaiah, by his presence, rebooted the system.
So you wanted the financial statements, right, up first?
Yes, yes. So, without further ado, I guess, we'll take a look at the audit report.
Hey, Skylar,
Yes.
why don't you turn your lights on for this one?
There it is. Okay, so this is the audit report of the financial statements for the year ended June 30, 2025. Skylar, if you want to page down past the table of contents, you'll see here we started the independent auditor's report. So this is the report card. This is the results of the audit. An audit is, just to let you know, our requirements under the audit are to audit and test and provide assurance as to the financial statements, that they're reliable, that they're complete, and they're in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles and based on generally accepted auditing standards. Our opinion is right up front in the first part of the audit report. It says we've audited the accompanying financial statements of the governmental activities in each major fund of the Sunset Empire Park and Recreation District as of and for the year ended June 30, 2025. And in our opinion, these statements present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities in each major fund of the Sunset Empire Park and Recreation District. And so basically what that means is that the financial numbers and statements and the disclosures included all represent the financial activities and the state of the financial condition of the district as of and for the year ended June 30, 2025. So that means the numbers are right, they're in the right categories, they're described appropriately, they're cut off in the right period, and the notes include all the required disclosures that are supposed to accompany the financial statements. So fairly presented means, in layman's terms, this is a clean opinion. It's a good opinion. We're not modifying or qualifying anything on the opinion. If you want to kind of just scroll down a little bit, Skylar, the rest of the report basically describes what I just summarized, what our responsibilities are. And then there's also management's responsibilities, actually. So management's responsible for the content the financial statements. They're responsible for the numbers, how things get recorded and accumulated to be put into these financial statements and basically prepare the report. And our job is to audit that and test that and say, yes, these are correct and they're proper. As part of our audit, we provide some accounting inconsistence, to get them in the right format and things like that. But basically, it's management's responsibility to, for the financial statements themselves, and our responsibility is to test so we can provide reasonable assurance about the financial statements as a whole. If you want to scroll down to the next page, I think we go to the next page, and this has a little bit more about what our responsibilities are, and what we're required to do as far as obtain an understanding of internal control, assess the accounting policies, test things, consider things in our judgment, that make sure that the entity is a going concern at least for 1 year beyond the financial statements, and then communicate all this with you because you as the board are those in charge of governance. I think the last part of the report, if you want to scroll down, talks about there is some required information. That's the budget to actual statements in the back and some other supplementary information. And then that last paragraph, right there, because you're considered an Oregon municipal entity, we're required to apply what's called the Oregon minimum audit standards. So there's some other things we look at. We look at the budget process. Are your bank accounts in qualified institutions as authorized by the state of Oregon? Are your investments in the right spot and things of that nature? So we perform all those tests, and at the end of the report, there's another report called the Independent Auditor's Report required by Oregon state regulations. And in a nutshell, that's also a clean opinion, a good report card on your compliance with Oregon requirements. Okay, if you wanted to scroll to the next page, I think that starts what's called the management's discussion and analysis. So this is basically a summary of what's contained in the financial statements to give some financial highlights. For the reader, so as you kind of leaf through the pages, there's a lot of numbers, a lot of disclosures and things of that nature, and this kind of gives you a nice summary of the highlights of what went on during the year. And if you kind of scroll to, and this is good reading, but if you scroll to the page 6, one more page down, we get into kind of a comparative. You can kind of see what the numbers look like. So this page compares the statement, the governmental activities, the statement of position, which is, in layman's terms, it's a balance sheet. It shows the assets and liabilities and net assets, or equity, if you will, of the entity at the point in time. And the point in time is always the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30th. So this kind of basically compares in a highly summarized spot, your balance sheet, what you have, your current and other assets, which are made up mostly of cash and receivables. And then, of course, capital assets, those are your capitalized equipment, property in the building, and then that's net of depreciation. And then the other liabilities are things like accounts payable and vacation payable and things of like that nature. And then the non-current liabilities primarily is the debt on the sunset or the recreation center. And so compared to last year, it's pretty consistent. You'll see that the assets are a little bit lower, and the net equity or the net position at the bottom is a little bit lower. And that's basically a result of what's on the next page. So if you want to scroll down to the next page, this will show a comparison of the activities during the year, the income statement, if you will. So you'll see between the 2 years, the top section shows the revenues. Your what we call program revenues are basically charges for services, the swimming and all the other things that you charge for. And then there's the general revenues that come from property taxes primarily, and that's basically your biggest source of revenues. So you can see between the 2 years, there's kind of a decrease in revenues, and that's primarily because of that line that says other revenues. In the prior year, I think there was a large, it was a bequest or a timber sale. I'm trying trying to remember what it was. I'm sorry, I forgot what it was. But you had a one-time
Yeah.
big revenue in the prior year, and that was good. But it enabled you to, do some more things. So you can see the expenses have also decreased, but they haven't decreased in the same rate. So if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see that where it says change in net position, that's kind of like the net income. So that change is just a result of expenses exceeding revenues for the year, and then that reduced on the balance sheet, the equity, the net position for the year. From year to year, things are gonna go up and down because, you're dependent, of course, on property taxes and those collections. And then you have to try to maintain costs or control costs. As a whole, the management's done a pretty good job of trying to keep pace with the expenses, but I think there's probably, and you've been discussing this, there's a need to increase revenues and further, work on expenses to kind of keep that net position from, you don't want it to shrink. You're in a good position, but, you want to control that as much as you can from year to year. So this basically summarizes the results of operations and the financial position for the year. The pages that follow then are a little bit more detail.
Rick, just a question.
A little bit more. Oh, go ahead.
Those numbers include both the foundation and the district?
Yes, that's true. Yes. And again, I think that's where the source of the other revenues came from in the prior year. So it does include the foundation activities. And if you go ahead and scroll to the next page, I want to scroll to page 10, the page that's headed up, statement of net position. There we go. So here's basically the balance sheet in a little bit more detail for the current year. That's what's required to be presented. So you can see that the assets, the capital assets make up a significant chunk of your total assets, but your cash and equivalents and then the investments that are held by the foundation make up the other part of your liquid assets. And so you've got liquidity there to cover your immediate, payables and accrued payroll and the amount due on the debt certainly within 1 year. And then you can see what's due in more than 1 year. And there's a note in the financial statements that shows the changes both in the capital assets, or beginning balance, any additions to capital assets, any disposals, and then the change in depreciation, as well as a note that describes more fully the change in that debt. So the beginning balance of the debt, the principal that's been paid, and then what's left at the end of the year. So that the debt's being paid on time. And we've applied procedures like confirming the debt and, analyzing and vouching, changes in these different balance sheet accounts to, again, to provide ourselves assurance that we can give assurance that these are properly stated. The next page.
Another question.
Go ahead.
What is the third line down? Oregon Community Foundation?
Oh, the Oregon Community Foundation. That's part of what's in the foundation. It was some investments, I think, probably acquired years ago. Maybe that a donor had invested in the community foundation and then they donated it or transferred it to the foundation. So the Oregon Community Foundation is an entity that kind of holds investments for mostly other nonprofit organizations, and they manage those investments, and then they so that those organizations can receive interest from them.
Oh, awesome.
That's what that is.
Thank you. Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the bottom part of this page just shows the makeup of that we call the net position or the net equity. If you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see that net position. Part of it is what we call the investment in capital assets. That's basically the difference between the asset part and the debt that's it secures by. So that's why the investment in capital assets is less than what you see as depreciable assets up above. It's just depreciable assets minus the debt equals that net investment. So it's kind of its own little balance sheet. And then unrestricted, basically, that's the amount of assets available to use for operations going forward. If you want to scroll to the next page, this is a detail of what makes up the different expenses by your various programs, you know, the administration, the aquatic program, recreation, youth, community, special events, Sunset Recreation Center, and then what we call the depreciation that's unallocated. And then it's kind of an upside down income statement sort of, because it shows the expenses first and then the main, you know, some operating revenues, and then the property tax revenues underneath. And this, if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see how it arrives basically at the change in net position, or in this case, the excess of expenses over revenues, and how we go from the beginning net position to the ending net position, or equity. Then, now these first two pages are what's called the government-wide financial statements. They're based on a more of a true accrual basis. The next few pages, because they're a government entity, are on the governmental basis. The difference between the accrual and the governmental basis are that on the governmental basis, you don't recognize in the balance sheet your capital assets or your debt. Those things are either have been expended for capital assets or the resources as far as debt coming in, and they're measured a little bit differently. So, and these statements are presented, it shows the general fund, or basically Sunset Empire by itself without the foundation, and then a column for the foundation. And you can kind of scroll down a little bit, you'll see that the assets are primarily everything except the capital assets, and the liabilities are primarily everything except the debt. And so that comes down to positive fund balances. The fund balance, again, is another term for, I guess, the equity, or the difference between the two. And that equity, I think that's been a positive for a number of years. On the next page is kind of the income statement based on the same way. It's a summary of revenue, or there's reconciliation, I'm sorry, between the government-wide balance sheet, the statement of net position, and then that governmental balance sheet. And again, it just provides a little bit more detail so you can know what the difference is between the two. This is something required for governmental entity financial statements. And then the next page after this is that governmental income statement, if you want to keep scrolling down here. This shows the revenues by both, again, the general fund, or the Sunset Empire by itself, and then the foundation. And, you know, the bulk of the activity, of course, takes place in the Sunset Empire Park and Recreation. And it comes down, I believe, to a positive change. I think we have, if you look at just your total revenues and expenses, it is a negative change. But again, it's it basically is, just measures those revenues and expenses without regard to depreciation or interest on the debt. I'm sorry, it includes the principal on the debt as an expenditure. So I don't want to confuse it too much, and basically this is a required presentation to present both the full accrual and what's called the governmental basis. And then the pages that follow this, I think there's one more page after this that shows the reconciliation of this and the accrual basis. So it starts with that net change in fund balances and then shows what changes affected to get down to the change in net position. Then the pages that follow this are what we call the disclosures, the notes to the financial statements. So these are all required disclosures, talks about the reporting entity, gives a little bit more in depth about the accounting policies and what's a receivable, a payable, a capital assets, how they're being depreciated, the requirements for holding cash, and what makes that up. If you go down, so you can kind of scroll, if you can scroll to page 21, toward the bottom of page 21, that kind of gives you an idea of what makes up the cash and cash equivalents, if you will. So much cash is held in the bank, and then there's a large part that's held in the local government investment pool where it earns some interest and stuff. And then as the entity needs it, it pulls from there, and as it has excess cash, it puts it back in. So that's kind of your cash management there, which is what most entities do, and it's all in compliance with the Oregon requirements. If you scroll down 2 more pages, you'll see the investments that's held by the foundation, and it kind of gives you an idea of what makes up those investments. So there's a total of the 162,000 in investments. Most of that's held in exchange traded funds. There's some mutual funds, and then there's just some brokered cash there for making trades and stuff. And those are all considered what they call level 1. You're required to disclose it's not a measurement of the quality of the investment, it's just kind of the type, how it's valued. So these investments are valued daily, so they're considered what's called level 1. Level 2, they're not valued as often. In level 3, they're things like real estate or foreign funds or something like that it's a little bit harder to get an active daily market value for it. And you don't have any of those. All yours are in level 1, which is good. And then this paragraph here talks a little bit more about that beneficial interest of assets held by the Oregon Community Foundation.
Hey, Rick, I have a question about the investments. So as a district, we're limited on what we can invest in, right? I mean, treasuries, strips, the pool, the local government pool, those sorts of things. But,
yes.
But the foundation has no such restrictions, right?
That's correct, yeah. Foundation is a nonprofit organization, but it's because it's controlled by the entity, that's why we combine it together.
Right,
so it doesn't have the same restrictions, although its investments would probably qualify under what the Oregon requirements are, just because they fall in that level 1 hierarchy.
Oh, okay, so they would qualify anyway.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That answers my question, thank you.
Oh, good, okay. You want to scroll down just a page. I think the next page, that's just a recap there. The next page shows the capital assets, as I was talking about, the beginning assets. What makes up your capital assets is the buildings, the pool, improvements, equipment, a little bit, there was some construction in progress that was finished up during the year. And then that middle section shows what the depreciation is. So depreciation, of course, is a measure of the use of the asset over its lifetime, kind of in dollars. And then we get down to what the net, the total assets net there, that ending balance, that $3,431,000 is what agrees to the main balance sheet at the beginning of the report. And then underneath that, toward the bond, not all the way to the bond, just beyond the property leased, the long-term liability. So this shows the bonds, primarily the bonds payable. There was a vehicle note payable that was added during the year. And then here we also include what's called compensated absences. That's basically accrued vacation pay, and that's supposed to be presented as a long-term liability because it's not necessarily all paid out in the next year. And then, of course, the full faith and credit bond that you have on the Sunset Recreation Center. It's got a beginning balance. The reductions show the principal that was required to be paid, and it was paid for an ending balance, and then shows what's due in the next year. The next page beyond that shows the maturities of that bond through its lifetime, so you can kind of see, gives the reader an idea of, okay, what are the principal requirements what are the payouts required over the next few years, and it's required to present it in the next 5 years, and then in groups of 5-year increments after that through the life of the bond. So that's why this disclosure is kind of set up that way, and it also shows you how much interest is required each year in the coming years. Just right underneath that is this vehicle note payable. There was a truck required for use by the district, and that's, again, it's paid out over the next few years. There's the other notes are basically the standard notes that go in there. There's a deferred compensation plan for the employees. The note on the next few pages are just the subscription-based information technology. That would be if you had a subscription that where you were tied into a contract to pay something annually for a number of years, we'd have to then calculate a liability on that, but yours are all annually renewed, so it's just a note that's here. We have the risk management, contingent liabilities, and then the last note on this page, if you scroll down a little bit, it says the over expenditure of appropriation. So there was one budget item, where it was budgeted for, but you had more expenses than you had budgeted for, so we're required to disclose that. And the pages that follow are basically what we call the required supplementary information. It's, I refer to them as the budget to actual. So it kind of shows what the original budget was, if there were any changes to the budget, what the actual results were for both revenues and expenditures, and then any kind of a variance. And so there's, you know, and then it's at the bottom of each one of these is a little reconciliation back to how it ties in with the financial statements. I think you've pretty well kept up to date on these budget to actual statements. If you want to scroll, the last two pages of the report are that additional report I was talking about. I think it starts on page 32. Here we go. Okay, so this is what we call a report required for minimum audit standards. So it kind of tells you what the additional procedures we have to do and what the areas we have to look at, and explains that this is a compliance, kind of a compliance report. And the paragraph right, if you scroll down just a little bit beyond what it shows the procedures are, it says, in connection with our testing, nothing came to our attention that caused us to believe the district was not in substantial compliance with laws and regulations. So it's basically what we call a clean report on your compliance as well. So that's the audited financial statements. Any other questions on this? I don't know how much time I'm allotted for this.
You got 5 more minutes.
Got 5 more minutes. Okay.
Mike, does Mike have any questions? I can't see him on the screen. Michael?
There he is.
Celeste or Catherine, do you have any questions? I just have one.
I'm here.
Do you have any questions, Mike, about the audit?
No, I don't have any. I can see plainly that we go where it's expended, and I'm sure that'll be discussed. It looks like a good audit.
I have a question, Rick. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
You made a comment about the software limitation on page 3, and
yeah.
And so next year, I understand we're going to have a different auditor. You're retiring.
Yes, I'm retiring, and I'm kind of the last one in my firm that does these type of governmental audits. So I provided some names to Skylar of some other good firms that I would recommend, and I really appreciated working with you all, and I'll certainly miss this part of the job, but my other boss has other things for me to do, so we're going to return.
My request is that as you pass along this information to the next auditor, I'm guessing there's going to be an exchange of information somehow. Then can you also pass along this notion of the CAN software issues so that gets looked at next year when we do our audit?
Absolutely, and that's exactly what I would plan to do. I want to make sure that they're equipped with as much knowledge as I can give them, and prepared to help you and Skylar and Chris to deal with this and go forward. So that's part of my job, and I'm happy to do that. And I'm working through the end of the calendar year, so even after you engage the other auditors, if you have questions or if they have questions as they get started, I want to make sure I'm available to answer their questions too, even after we've made the transition and I've shown them my work papers and discussed these kind of things with them.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Yeah, sorry to see you go, and congratulations on your retirement, or your retirement from us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you.
Okay. Well, thank you all, and best of luck to you, and I look forward to helping in the transition and, I'll keep it in touch with Skylar and Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay, bye.
Is there a motion?
I motion to accept the 2024-2025 audit report from Kernan Thompson.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, Catherine,
Aye.
Aye.
Celeste, Michael,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Motion carries. Mackenzie, your turn.
Thank you
Give
for
me
being
just
here.
a sec.
Of course. It's kind of fun to listen in on, because I do it all the time. Buzzwords.
Okay, you just, tell me when you're ready and I'll try to get you to order.
We can skip like the first schedule. We can skip this one.
Ooh, I like your, like, transition.
I got a story about that, but okay.
Oh, about introduction?
No, about one red flower in a bouquet of white.
Okay.
That was my trick to get girls.
Okay.
40 years ago.
I don't.
Thank you. Long story short, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about myself, revisit last year's presentation, because I presented last June, right after I took the position, but I was still just so, just drowning still, that it was impossible to even come up with anything super youth programs. But a little bit of catch up. I got really into canning last summer, which we kind of talked about. I brought a collection of jams and jellies for you guys to try if you would like to take them. I brought a whole bunch. I've been working on my green thumb in my office with all the windows. I've been working really hard on growing plants. My daughter Tilly's 5.5. She just lost her first tooth. And it got me in the field. I remember when she grew the tooth.
Michaela lost a tooth last night. She only has one baby tooth left.
Oh,
No.
yeah, my cats still kind of run the house, run the roost. Only one of them is pictured because the other one doesn't like to be. She's a typical girl cat. Yeah, it's just kind of what I've been up to personally for the last year. I wanted to talk a little bit about our current numbers and kind of some of our successes, our growth, our limitations, things like that. Currently, we have 15 infants and toddlers enrolled, 11 koalas in our preschool classroom, 11 wallabies in our pre-K class, 16 kiddos in our aftercare, the combination of the koalas and the wallabies, and then we have 45 children still in our aftercare.
And you might be talking about this. Are you going to talk about what the capacity is? Like, how does that compare with?
Yeah.
Okay.
We will talk a little bit more about
Great.
going deeper into that. So I feel like our big one here is infant and toddler room expansion. We can click through and we'll kind of expand on that one. This calendar year, we have added 7 infants to our care. Having 2 classrooms for our infant and toddler program means that our capacity is very, very high. Unfortunately, our staffing and our ability to hire, maintain, and, just keep staff committed to working and to working in childcare is tricky, and I think that's the biggest thing holding us back. Our capacity for each of our infant toddler classrooms, for example, if we put a divider in the middle of them, each classroom could hold upwards of 20 kiddos.
Wow.
Do we want 20 kiddos in each side? Is that reasonable? No, probably not the most feasible for our setup. But we have been able to grow. Previously, we had 8 toddlers, because all of our infants have kind of just grown up over the years and moved into our preschool and beyond. So bringing in these 7 new infants has really, we've almost doubled our capacity in that classroom alone. And it's allowing us to cater to that younger population. We finally have like itty bitty babies, which is one of my personal goals for the year, was to bring back the babies. And we're just we're doing our best to keep up with the demand for care in our county as other facilities are closing.
What's the ratio of staff to babies?
So for babies, per the state, it's 1 adult to 4 babies. That is no. When I'm in there, I can't tackle 4 babies by myself. I'm comfortable with 3, and that's me. Like 2 or 3 of the itty bitties. So typically we have 2 to 3 staff in there with our 7, just to make sure that they have enough support, because those little guys are tough.
And so what is your feeling, because you're probably closest to this probably in the county, I would imagine, is like, what is your feeling, like, so we have 15 spots. Is that enough for our area? Is it not enough for our area? What do we feel, what would be, like, if you could find enough staff, what would we need? What would be enough for the area?
If we had the staff, I would love, in my dream world, I would love it if we could do 15 infants and 15 toddlers.
Okay.
I think that's about max for what those classrooms could reasonably fit without it being complete chaos and destruction. But I would love about 15 in each.
But that's limited by our space, what we have for space. Like, what do you think the community needs?
The community needs more childcare.
Even more than that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Like
double that, like?
Probably more than double.
There's just childcare centers closing left and right.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking and
So harder.
What's the fee, what do we charge for that?
It's a great question, Kyle.
for what?
I actually looked at this, yeah, because it's a place where we're upside down.
Infant care or infant toddler.
So for our infant care actually costs more, and the price for that is $16.10.
Per month?
Yes.
And so, you say it costs us more, or it costs the families more?
Costs more than like
More
toddler
than-
or preschool.
Oh, of course, yeah,
It's the
it
most
should,
expensive
yeah.
childcare program.
Right.
And then toddler room is $14.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So what I'm hearing is the community is still underserved in terms of childcare. Is the greatest need in this category, the infants and the toddlers?
That's what everybody always has kind of said, is that
Okay.
the infants are the biggest need.
Yeah.
But
So few that will take them
Yeah.
because of the.
Yeah, but now, where we're at now, I'm finding that we have more toddlers that are ready to enroll. And I don't know if that's just right now, this moment.
Or that they're thinking to come to us or something maybe,
Yeah.
that people are realizing.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we started the program, I think, this is anecdotal, but, there wasn't, paid leave of Oregon, wasn't a law. And so I think that's afforded some folks more opportunities to, parents to stay at home longer with their kiddo, and to have some of, income still coming in for those ones. Yeah, I think when we looked at this before, and this was before Mackenzie was in her current role, but there's around like 60 to 80 like kids entering kindergarten every year. Okay, and so then if you work backwards from that, then that number would ostensibly be around the same for infants and toddlers, right? And now, not all of those families need or want care in this way, but I think you would want to have slots for maybe 40 to 50 kids in the community.
Yeah.
And we obviously don't have that, and even combined with the other providers that are still open, we're far under that. So.
I've never thought about it that way, like how many kiddos are entering kindergarten, but that's a really nice way to kind of sum that up.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to advance? Yeah.
So again, we're meeting our community needs as best we can, but I don't think we will, as a single entity, ever be able to fulfill our community needs in terms of childcare. Given that example, there's no way we'll be able to offer those full 40 spots to every infant that needs it in a year. And again, it's so hard with other childcare facilities closing. We've been able to take on a couple babies and staff from facilities that have closed recently. I'm like, okay, there's kind of a little bit of a glimmer for us, but it's such a bummer.
Can you talk a little bit around staffing and like what are the barriers to staffing? Is it that the wages are low? Is it the hours are too hard and people can't do that? Like what is the barrier to finding staff?
Do you need a license?
Is it a license? Yeah, what are the barriers? Yeah.
Childcare is hard, and it's defeating, and it's demanding, and you're serving a population that can't necessarily say thank you.
Okay.
You're serving a population for 8 hours
So
a
it's a
day.
burnout kind of situation. Okay.
Are there other ways that we can, thank them and rejuvenate them?
Yes, and that's kind of what we've been talking about, Savannah and I are kind of trying to figure out how we can keep that going, because we find that we hire staff and we don't retain them for very long in youth programs. We either have people that are there for the long haul, or people are in and out pretty quick.
I will say too, I feel like, some of the staff are, transitory solely because they're there with their child, and then their child grows up,
Moves on.
and then they no
I see.
longer need.
So that's good. I mean, it might be nice for us to just have a good grasp on that, like why people are moving on.
Yeah.
And if they're moving on because it's their own child, or they're moving on because they're moving out of the area, because I know sometimes cost of living forces people to move to a different area, like, it would be nice to have some of that analysis to try to figure, because turnover is expensive, right? When you have staff turnover,
Kills you.
yeah, it's really
Absolutely
hard.
kills you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's hard on the kids. I mean, I know, like, my own child, she's in fifth grade, and obviously not like a little bitty, but she's, constantly, well, so-and-so left, so-and-so's back, here,
Yeah.
I don't like this person, no. But she,
Well, no,
they
have preferences.
Yeah,
We all do.
it's that is a constant thing of discussion in our household.
Yeah.
The flux.
Yep, exactly. So our preschool aftercare. Each of our preschool classrooms can enroll 15 kiddos. So our koala classroom and our wallaby classroom in the morning can each enroll 15 kiddos. That's what we have them capped at, so the classroom size, all of that. Our aftercare program, we also cap that at 15 kiddos, but it's a combination of those two classes despite who goes home early. Because I want to call kiddos to leave, and then we have currently 16 kiddos in that aftercare program, which is exceeding our capacity. And we're stretched about as thin as we can go in there. We are at capacity. We're doing our best, but we can't add more to our morning preschool classrooms because we find that so many parents right now are looking for full-time all-day care. And so we can't add to those morning numbers right now until we have the ability to increase the capacity of that afternoon number.
And is the capacity limited again by the space, or by staff, or both? Staff.
Yep.
But the 15 number, unless we like grew another classroom, 15 is like the maximum that you can have in that physical space, right?
We can have more than that.
Oh, really? I thought
Yeah.
the number was always 15, sorry.
No, so we had, her name is Sarah Lind from the state of Oregon, and she does like childcare licensing and a whole bunch of that stuff. And she came in and she measured each of our classrooms and gave us the exact square footage and how many kiddos we can have. The only thing is that there needs to be like a divider of some sort once you reach a certain number. And I think 15 is that number for that preschool age where there has to be a divider. It can be a bookshelf, it can be an accordion wall, it can be.
I remember in the old West Wing,
Yeah, we built
bookshelves.
yeah.
Yes, and so that increases the capacity quite a bit.
What are the ratios again for preschool?
For preschool, it's 1 to 10, which is tricky right now. We have 2 teachers in there with the 16, but I don't know if you guys know they're trying to put preschoolers down for naps. And 16 of them all at once.
Well, and just because it's a maximum doesn't mean necessarily that it's realistic, especially if burnout of staff is a problem, like you need to keep it so that it's reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, so we're doing our best to manage the high demand in the area, but I think we're still falling short a little bit due to our staff ratios and just ensuring that we can maintain safe care. Yes, we can probably take on more kiddos, but are we going to be able to maintain safe care and continue to hire people that we can maintain that?
I'm curious, does the state of Oregon provide any, because this is just such a problem everywhere, do they provide any kind of guidance about, or any kind of subsidy to help cover staff costs or anything? And they offered?
Staff costs is one area where I don't think we've had a lot of financial support. There's knowledge and administrative support, there's resources, and McKinsey's really plugged into like that world. We have gotten funds from the state before, but a lot of them were allocated for facility expansion, for equipment costs, for things like that. And that's kind of what helped us, like when we transitioned the preschool program from the West Wing, the youth center building, over to the SRC. We were able to kind of tap into a lot of those funds, and that was nice because it was like right at the end of COVID too, so there was a lot of funds available. But that pot, to me at least, has dried out a little bit, with the exception of the Classic Child Care Coalition, which we've still been able to tap into a couple times, but even that is not necessarily for staffing, it's for expansion, it's for we're trying to get more slots.
More slots.
More
More staff.
bricks and mortar.
Yeah.
And it's particularly, hard, I think, with our model because we're subsidizing childcare, because we're subsidizing youth programs at a pretty high level to like manage that ratio really well.
Right.
It presents just a different dynamic than like a business that can see like, okay, we need to charge this much to, you know, it's our break even, this is what we want for like profit margins and things like that. But for us, we're kind of like playing in the gray a little bit, like what's affordable in our community, how many kids do we have on scholarship, what kind of services do they need as far as the timing of their day. It just makes it a little bit more complicated, I think.
Well, I also wonder if by subsidizing, are we driving the cost so low for families that other entities
Are we harming our competitors?
that other entities can't compete with us, right? And so that there's not other childcare options.
That's why they closed.
And that's why they closed. Like that could be an obstacle too.
Yeah, maybe you can comment. I don't feel like that's the case. I think our prices are in line, but a little bit more affordable than some of those other places.
You know, I mean, we're not talking like half,
Yeah.
Okay.
you know, we're,
Yeah.
it's a couple $100 maybe,
Yeah.
you know.
And to be fair, I think we're doing it, I mean, on the shoulders of some of the tax revenue that we get, and so we're really trying, I think, to offer it as a great service to our, especially our residents that need that care and are
We're just
supporting the district in with their tax revenue. And the ratio or the fee structure for district guests is substantially higher than residents, so.
Yeah.
So do we prioritize our residents first over?
We've talked about that a lot, and I think we haven't really, and part of that is because I think it's a challenge when all of these are school district, Seaside School District, not all of them, but the majority of the vast majority are school district kids.
Yeah.
So we do have a few that are out of our district, but are in their district boundaries, and that gets just, it's convoluted. It's hard. We really just need Gearhart and Canton Beach to join, and then we wouldn't really have this problem. But I think there are a few, even Warrenton and maybe some Astoria kiddos in our program.
And, you know, and I mean, part of the reason that they're in the program, right, is they're probably working in our community, which
Yeah.
supports the community,
Yeah.
you know, so it's all kind of.
Yeah,
Teacher-
but
teacher-
to your point, that's
teachers
why
in
we
school
need
district.
Gearhart, the two highest
Yes.
income, highest real estate value places, like not to, like literally, that means they're asking Seaside and Warrenton, the other district communities to pick up this really important, community service that we're offering up that serves them as well, right? Like, or else the whole county doesn't have.
We do know that a lot of the, out-of-district folks that use the childcare do end up buying the district because it actually is
That's true.
financially.
Yeah, but it's just tough. I mean, I think, yes, I think that's good, but also, I mean, I don't have kids that need childcare at this point, but it's important for our community to have good childcare so that our workers are supported. And I don't feel like it's particularly fair that I'm pitching in to support our community, but Gearhart and Canton Beach are opted out. And so that, I think we really need to prioritize that. And this is a good reason to do it, because you are doing fabulous work at expanding capacity, expanding space, and I'd love to see us have the resources to pay a competitive wage that keeps people here, that provides incentives, so that we don't have to max out the rooms and max out people. I mean, and I just think it's really important.
I'm sorry, I couldn't remember if we got to that one or not.
So a little bit of just kind of what I've been working on, kind of my behind the scenes. I'm always in the classrooms, always helping out, pitching in for behavior support as needed. But what have I been working on kind of in the background over the last year or so? I've been working on quite a bit of policy work for licensing when we finally get around to that. So that means changing some of our parent handbooks, changing some of our verbiage, and just making sure that we're meeting all of our licensing requirements and all of our documentation. We have a lot of really, really strong documents already provided that we have created within the district, but making sure that everything aligns with the ELC and the state board and what they want to see.
Are our providers licensed now?
No, the building to have occupancy before we can become licensed.
Okay.
So that's what we're waiting on. We follow the state of Oregon protocol that the licensed childcare facilities follow. We follow their rules, their regulations, we just don't have that.
What benefit does it provide to us to be licensed?
More money,
Because,
we can apply for other grants and things like that. There's just more opportunities for funding once you're licensed. It looks better on paper to be a licensed child care facility because people assume that I don't want to say people assume, it's a very easy assumption to make that we're not following all of the Oregon child care licensing standards if you're not licensed. So I think it's just like a certain degree,
You used to be licensed.
I just wonder what the incentive, because it sounds like it might be more expensive for us to be licensed, like we have to pay for people. So what's the incentive for us? I mean, I just don't know.
For the individual caregiver or for the district?
Well, I see that, to me, it would be it assures parents, but for the district, right, I'm concerned with the cost of things. And
Yeah.
so,
And
like,
grants, I remember there were a bunch of grants that we couldn't go after because we weren't licensed.
Do they demand higher wages if they're licensed?
that's what I would imagine, right, exactly. And it's, you have to pay for people to go get their license,
Right,
I would imagine, right, like all those things. Like, I'm just wondering why, it seems like the state would incentivize licensure, but I don't know.
And all of our employees technically have everything that they need to meet licensing upon hire. We do the state of Oregon checklist, we do their first aid CPR, we do all of those things. So their license background, or their background check, and they have all of the steps, we're just waiting for our facility to be licensed, if that makes sense. None of our teachers necessarily get that credential, that specific title, but the facility would.
I think the main incentive is that, there's a lot more access to different funding streams through being licensed that aren't available to us now. And then it's less, it's hard to place a value on it, but I do think if we were in a competitive market, right now, is not what we have, we would be able to say, hey, we're a licensed facility, and I think that speaks to parents, it gives them peace of mind.
Yeah. But we're not, I mean, the state of childcare is that
Exactly.
not competitive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm usually for licensing, except that, to tell you the truth, it irritates me that the state is not providing more solutions in this category, and so to me, if they're not gonna offer a carrot to get licensed, like, why jump through their
And if
hoops?
they give you a license, they have something to take away.
Right, exactly, why jump through their hoops if it doesn't actually benefit us? But I do think, I think doing some analysis about what funding might be open to us if we're licensed, is important.
I mean, I remember previously, former grant writer that went to Newport, right, and then I'm blanking on the name. Melissa, she was able to go after quite a few grants.
Yeah.
When we were back,
Yeah.
but we were in the West Wing.
And Melissa was awesome, she was a super great grant writer, and I think a lot of that, or at least part of our success at that particular period of time was because there was a lot of focus in the news and in government on expanding childcare and meeting the demand that was out there to help expand the workforce. And then also it was kind of right on the tail end of COVID when there was just so much government funding and other funding. So I think it's something that we've honestly been wrestling with since we moved youth programs to the SRC. If it's worth it. We've always sort of known that we wouldn't be able to get licensed until we had full occupancy. And so it's been a hurdle that we haven't had to really jump over, but I think Mackenzie's done a lot of work to get us ready to apply if or when occupancy occurs.
Do we feed the kids?
We feed the kids snacks, so morning snack and afternoon snack. The snack consists of a basic fruit, veggies, carb, and protein.
Then do we get reimbursed from state or federal for food?
I don't believe so. I think that.
I don't think we've ever, outside of some COVID funding, I don't think we've ever had a grant opportunity for that. The summer meals program would be a little bit different. We feed them lunch, or the school district feeds them lunch, and they get reimbursed through the Department of Education as a summer lunch program funding stream that's pretty active.
Do we know, are there other models in our state where it works financially?
The one that I'm most familiar with that rings true, and it's because I've spent a little bit of time in their building, is at Willamette Lane in Springfield. But their funding model works really well because they got around like $1.5 million in donations from the University of Oregon and from someone else down there. And in turn, they allocate a certain number of their preschool slots for University of Oregon faculty or staff.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
that works really well for them. And I think that's something that we've talked about a little bit or considered. I just don't know if we don't have a University of Oregon. We have a hospital. We have school district. We have a city. So that's something that we.
Providence would be a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
Some more policy work that I've been working on. There's a new suspension and expulsion ban going into place specifically for early childhood education, because there has been, I don't even remember, a drastic increase in suspensions and expulsions at the preschool level. And so there's this new program going into place. It's called Every Child Belongs, ECB, and it will take effect in July. The program launches in our county in mid-March. And so I've been working with a couple different people through the state to make sure that we have a full understanding and have all of our policy work in line to make sure that we can support our teachers and our students and our faculty if we ever get to the point of needing outside resources for a kiddo. Our new policy work pretty much outlines what steps we can take. We ran into a situation recently where our verbiage wasn't quite clear enough about what our next steps would be. And so doing the policy work with the state is really helping to outline if this, then this, in terms of behavior and things like that.
So is ECB a state program then, or is that something more?
It is a state program, and then there's a law. So the law goes into effect in July, and the ECB program starts in March. So they're kind of throwing it out there to be like, hey, here are all of the tools that you need. So by July, all of your kiddos should be smoothly moving through your program. And we really do not suspend or expel very many kiddos, but it's nice to know that we have our policies in place if we were to ever need to.
Does this limit our ability to suspend or ban disruptive students?
No. But it's outlining what our steps look like when that happens. And it gives us the right to refer out to Northwest Regional ESC if we feel like there are behavior, developmental, speech, anything like that, areas of growth that we target. That gives us the ability to refer out to them. Right now, we need full parent approval before we can reach out for that behavior or whatever we do referral. And so our new policies kind of say we can outline, but at a certain point, if parents are not taking the next step, we can still take steps through the state to do what we need to do.
So an area that I feel particularly concerned about, just because I work with kids that experience trauma, and I can't, including a couple of my own kids that experienced childhood trauma and have early behavior problems, and just based on what I know, that kids at this age that have behavior issues almost always connected to either trauma or disability.
Yes.
And so I have some concerns about ADA violations, like, and I don't know specifically how they might show up with kids, but a kid who has a disability, and so I worry about our risk as an organization in expelling a kid that maybe has a disability.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that the state provides that, and also just hoping that we have access to some trauma-informed training for kids in this age group. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think preschool is, this early childhood age is so hard because it's obviously coming from somewhere. These behaviors is trauma. It's linked to something that is an experience that these children have had. And I think that ECB is going to be a really helpful program for our county. It also helps connect us and parents and families with mental health resources and health care and things like that. So, okay, we're trying all of these classroom resources, then we'll move to this, and then we can seek out outside support.
Well, and I think it's a place also that I'm hoping that we can, and I'm happy to provide any resources that I might have, but like to the caregivers, your teachers, like this can really burden burn you out to have behavior problems going on. And so, but there are tools and strategies that can help you not burn out in those cases, so.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we will talk a little bit about some of those
Okay.
tools, some of those tools
Yeah.
up here shortly, yeah. We'll kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about summer programs. I'm gonna give you guys kind of the quick inside scoop at our summer programs. I haven't even sent these to Zoe for the program guide yet.
Exciting, sneak preview.
Sneak preview, so what I'll say, we're doing preschool summer camp pick their themes for 9 weeks, and then the villages, the older kiddos pick their themes for 9 weeks. And sometimes they kind of align, the theme is similar, and then sometimes they're totally different. So we'll just do a quick run through of the 9 weeks and what that'll look like. Week 2 is our Snap, Crackle, Pop, it's 4th of July. Science experiments, we thought, not just red, white, and blue, what can we do? Week 3 is storytale and stories and mashups and a lot of imagination. We're thinking props, a play, just kind of that kind of creative stuff. This one, we got a lot of kid input on some Pokemon or like a mystery, some great mystery where, you know, they have to follow it through the week.
Just throwing it out there, but your week 3, you might reach out to Kids Make Theater, in Astoria.
Yeah.
Yeah. We reached out to them as part of Girl Scouts and got some really interesting, like, ideas and stuff, but they might, I don't know, they're very responsive.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, that's good. Week 4 is Pokemon. You know, we love mysteries. They're gonna want to go find stuff. We were like, well, maybe we'll download Pokemon Go on somebody's phone and they can go walk around. Under the Sea, and then mythical and magical for the older kiddos, and kind of let them choose what that looks like. Is it going to be knights and dragons? Is it going to be mermaids? Is it going to be, who knows? Tutti Frutti and Tiny Chefs. Tutti Frutti, we thought like colorful, pops of fruit, you know, kebab, preschool fun with colorful fruit. And then Tiny Chefs, and we'll work on some soft kitchen skills and things like that. Week 7, preschool is going to do kind of just a rainbow theme, just throw it out there and do colors. And then our older kiddos are going to do nature artists and learn about different artists as well as do some nature art. Week 8, our preschoolers just to do Zootopia and focus on all different animals around the world. We're still kind of narrowing down their ideas, but they talked about maybe doing a continent per day and kind of talking about animals and things on that continent and then moving to a different one. And then Messy Olympics for some fun and teamwork towards the end of summer. Our last week, we typically do a water week. We decided to add in some friendship in water. I thought, like, make friendship bracelets. It's the last week of camp, all of our fun water things, our tie-dye t-shirts, just kind of that the last hurrah all together before they head back to school.
Do you know when registration will be open?
Spring break. Spring break. You can go ahead and just give you a fun image and show them all again. So some trainings and professional development. These are some of the things that I have done over the last year.
Sorry, I was laughing at the picture.
No, it's good.
I thought it was a real baby for a second. I was like, no, that's.
Prezi will post the pictures for me when I tell him what we're doing. You just get one more.
Yeah.
So I've been taking care courses, and care courses are online courses, and you get credit hours for them, which can apply towards your professional learning statement and your growth as an educator in the state of Oregon. I really like care courses. I feel like they align super closely with what I want to see and what I want our program to look like, so I find that they're great jumping off points. I like taking our care courses and being able to reteach them or to share them with the classroom. So the few that I've done the last couple months, I did parents and child care, which was a lot about communicating with parents, whether that be positively or negatively, and how that should look. Good compliment sandwich and making sure that it's positive and that you remember that you're talking to somebody about their baby, about their everything. So that was a really fun one to reteach. I held kind of an in-service over winter break and was able to walk through almost all of my staff through that course. I did a toilet learning care course. We also call it potty training because we're not training them to do something. They're not dogs. They're learning. It's a skill, which is something that I learned. We don't train them to walk. They learn to walk. So I thought that was that was like my biggest takeaway from that. And that one's been one that we have taken the practices and we've been able to use them with our toddlers, and we've successfully potty trained both toddlers that we tried that system with. I have taken a challenging behavior positive guidance in childcare, and that one just talks about switching from positive from negative.
Just as a funny,
Yeah.
that's how you could make the money for, like, the shortfall, is just offered potty trained children.
We can't.
Or toilet learning.
I know, I say one every time.
Toilet learning.
Yeah.
Be like, bring your child for this amount of money, we will deliver a finished product.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. And then I also took a transition and other troublesome times. We struggle quite a bit around that nap time of day. Kids are tired, they're hungry, they miss mom and dad. And so that training really kind of honed in on that. All of these ones, they take like 4 to 10 hours each. So they're not quick, but they're also not too long. I like to just kind of listen to them and work through them. Next one will outline the business cohort that I did. So through the grant that Darren is working on for us, a handful of us had to participate in these cohorts through our local CCR&R, Clackamas County Resource and Referral. And so I chose to do one on business because I don't know a lot about business. My background is in education, and learning all of the business side of everything is new to me. So this cohort had 5 evening sessions for 2 to 3 hours, and then 3 one-on-one coaching sessions when I got to sit down and ask business, staffing, money, all of the questions that I needed to or wanted to with a resource who works with other child care providers in our county and our state. I thought it was very, very interesting, but I think a lot of it doesn't necessarily fit with our model. And then some PD network workshops. So these are all like via Zoom or in person. I did a cost per child, which was super insightful because it's one of those ones that doesn't really apply necessarily to our model due to how many different outside factors we have. Child care cost modeling, trauma responsive care for infants and toddlers in child care, because with trauma is so prevalent for these kiddos. That one was, I remember that one very clearly. It was the day that the car ran into the sandbox, and I had to leave mid-training. So that one's in my brain as trauma responsive care, a car into the sandbox. Brains and behavior, how trauma shows up at school. So how does that look for our littlest, tiniest patrons? It looks different than how trauma shows up for you or for me or for other adults. Adults must feel safe to learn, so it talks about adult learning principles and what I need to be mindful of when I'm trying to teach my staff, not just my kiddos. And then finding your why in terms of business and what you want to do with your business, what's your goal. So some of my goals that I went back and I found my last presentation and I was like, what were some of my goals that I really wanted to work on over the next year? Because yes, I wrote them down, but they weren't something that I was looking at every single day. So some of the big ones that I felt were really strong over the last year were enhance my educator leadership skills. Again, being a leader in this capacity has been new to me. So I feel like any growth has been exponential, and seeing myself grow in this role has been really awesome. Another goal that I wanted to have was to continue to love my family and my career simultaneously, which I do. And then my last one was to increase our teen or baby capacity, which we have done. Now it's just maintaining those things. And those are also goals that I want to continue to focus on. They're kind of my ongoing. So just talking a little bit more specifically about some of the challenges that we're having. The biggest one, staff hiring and retention. Before we brought on these babies, we had a full staff. So end of last year, we had talked about bringing on babies. We kind of got it all ready. We got the classroom ready. We got everything ready to bring on our babies in January and February. And then we suddenly had multiple staff members leave. But we already had this commitment to take on these babies. And so that's kind of where youth programs is at right now. Is we have these people quit. We're struggling to get more people in the door, but we still have these babies. And so it's stretching us a little bit closer to the actual space ratios, and that's meaning a lot more admin support in the classroom to make sure that things are running smoothly. but I also would not trade taking on the 7 babies for literally anything in the world. It's,
Do you have people that swing between the age groups, or are you finding that most people, when you hire them, like to know what age, have a specific age group that they prefer?
both. We have a couple people who are really willing to hop everywhere, and then a couple people are like, no, this is really where I thrive, this is my area. Yeah, so then we're just kind of, one of our challenges is meeting daily operational needs. So making sure that we're giving a high quality care every single day with our bare bones staff, and making sure that we're actively finding solutions to bring on staff and to retain staff. My last couple of weeks, I've been trying to think of how can we bring in more people. The way that we're advertising our staffing for youth programs isn't bringing in enough people for some reason. And that's, it's working for other departments, it's not working for child care. And so I had to reach out to people through the state and just, what do we do? What are we missing? Where are we missing our mark? And so I currently have somebody looking at like our job descriptions to see if we're missing anything there, to make sure that it's up to date and it looks like it needs to. And then I also have a resource who's kind of putting out, she works closely with a lot of the child care facilities that are closing, and so she's been putting out some good work for us as well. And then one of my resources through the state said to start advertising physically and locally in the community, which is something that I don't think, I know I don't do a ton of in terms of advertising employment. Physically, I don't think a lot of people do anymore.
What does that mean?
Like going and posting a physical advertisement somewhere instead
Like
of just
a flyer?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I was like, yeah.
Do childcare providers need special training?
So we provide all of the training upon hire. There's 5 courses through the state of Oregon that are required for licensed child care providers, and we have our staff do all 5 of those upon hire.
Is there anybody in the county that does that training?
It's all online.
Yeah, well, I mean, my thought was to go toward the schools, if you're trying to get a licensed provider.
Yeah.
Seek out the schools that are training.
Have we benchmarked, or do we know what the rate is for this work, like outside of us?
You mean
Okay.
hourly wage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wages.
Yeah.
Yes, Savannah has done a lot of that already, and Haley, previous HR person, did a lot of that as well. I think there's challenges because we're not often losing, rarely, but we're not often losing employees to other childcare related positions elsewhere. Sometimes we lose them to the school district, and that's typically because they can get benefits with the school district. But we're often competing with other segments of industry like tourism or hospitality, or like we'll lose people that go work at a restaurant or at a hotel.
So I'm just curious what the difference would be. Like, are they leaving for 50 cents an hour more at a different job, or are they leaving for?
I haven't had a single youth programs employee tell me that they're leaving just for the money.
Okay.
I haven't had anybody reference.
It's just the work is hard.
It's the work is hard, yeah.
And also, I think our expectations are pretty high on our employees. Like, we support them and we reward them and we try to treat them with like great care and respect, and give them professional development opportunities and lots of different things. I think working for the district for the right kind of person is a great fit. For others, there's a lot expected of them. Like, we expect them to be on time, we expect them to treat the kids a certain way, to interact with the parents a certain way, to have respectful interactions with their coworkers, and that's not always the case. And it's not just exclusive to youth programs. We find that with, aquatics and with maintenance and stuff too. There's just not a lot of the workforce pool that we're hiring from does not always have like the strongest applicants and work ethic and just like work habits quite yet developed here.
Yeah.
I will say, you do have some employees that have been there forever.
Mhm.
Like Jennifer and Stevie, Stevie was there when my kiddos were little. Probably up until recently, there's a fair amount that do stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think having that kind of district mindset is tricky for people, like Skylar mentioned, is that we do expect a lot more. It's not just, you're not just walking in and doing child care, there's more that feeds into the district and the customer service that you need to provide. And for some people, I do think that's kind of a surprise, as much as it shouldn't be. We talk about it all the time and things like that, but the demand for a different face of customer service. Okay, that's all. Yeah, conclusions, next steps. Not really anything. I'm excited to come back next year and be like, this is what we've done now, and now we have staff and everything like that. But overall, I feel like youth programs they're holding steady as they do. Yeah.
Well, we can't wait to see you again next year, Mackenzie. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All the hard work.
Wow.
Good job.
And please pass thanks to your team, because if that's something they don't hear, let them hear it, that the
Right.
board is appreciative, because we know that this is a critical service that they're providing to the community. It's really important.
I wanna see the jam.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
We have been waiting this whole time.
I was like, do I do sweet or do I do spicy or so I brought like a whole bunch. Like I literally brought a
Oh,
whole,
those are
my
really
gosh.
big.
like a whole.
Oh my
I
gosh.
literally just like dig through it and then anything that's left. No, I'm gonna put it out here and everybody else can take it. There's like fruit, there's some pepper jelly, there's
I'll take some pepper
There's
jelly.
like
You want the
pineapple
pepper
jelly.
I will do any of
There's
them.
blue, black, there's
Oh,
pineapple.
I'm a pretty kid.
Strawberry jam?
I can only
take a
water
strawberry
can.
This is plum.
This is pepper.
Yes, I did plum.
Okay,
And I started-
I'm gonna take a strawberry if it's okay.
No, please take all. I brought it all. I filled up a whole section of my basement this
Oh my
year.
gosh,
I'm like,
what a treat.
we have to get through it before it's time to can again. So please take some.
That's a total treat to have homemade. I haven't had a
Yeah,
homemade
this
jam.
didn't get any yet.
Yes, I will.
Just leave it anywhere out there and
Sure.
everybody can dig through it and I'll.
What did you think of pepper?
I took a plum.
Oh,
Can't
plum.
remember. Did you make, you tried
I mean-
before the holidays?
You can never
What did I make
find.
for
You had it, you had it.
Yeah, no,
That kind of set up in these programs in the yard. I think it
Oh, I did
Good idea.
jam.
was berry and something, or blackberry and blueberry maybe? I
Yes,
can't remember. Anyways,
yes, I did the
it
whole.
was super good.
Yeah.
EBJ's there. among their
Thank
shelves.
you.
Jam in or whatever. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Of course,
Mackenzie.
thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Okay, approval of board meeting minutes dated January 27th. Do I have a motion? Mike, you still with us?
Mike texted me that he had to leave because he is still, I think, recovering a little bit from some surgery recently, so
Okay.
we have a quorum.
We're still a quorum?
He said, you have a quorum, I'll catch up with you in a few days when I feel a little more up to it.
Oh, I'm sorry, he's not feeling well.
So, I was absent last meeting, so technically, or usually I would abstain, but that would give us a quorum. I don't think I'm required to abstain.
I can pass the gavel on and you can call it a motion.
I can call for the
We
motion.
still have a quorum, yeah, we still don't have.
But
a
then I
quorum
can
problem.
second it.
Well, she's the same when it comes to
She
the
can't
vote.
vote on it.
Yeah.
She technically can.
I can't.
But it's been a practice of the board to
Not,
not.
so I
If you
am,
want,
I
we
am,
can-
I am providing that disclaimer because we can pass it till next week. I'm okay with breaking, because I want to be transparent, that I'm breaking custom if I adopt.
It's not in the ORS, it's just a practice that this particular
Right.
board has adopted, which I think is great. You can choose to add these meeting minutes, review for our March meeting and just review February and January, or you can do it now with Celeste.
I read the minutes. I don't have a conflict of voting to approve them. It's only, but I want to be transparent that I wasn't here, so I can't attest to the accuracy completely.
I mean, I'm happy making a motion, I think, yeah.
You make the motion, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye. Motion carries.
Check it off the list.
Financials. Feel like we just spent time on the financials.
Yeah, a lot of time. Sorry, this page, Kyle, when you get a chance. Yeah, nothing exceptionally noteworthy in the financials. I mean, broken record on this, but it's hard to believe that we are over halfway through the year and
Then March next week.
and working on the budget for next year, and just got there's just a lot of different kind of number sequences and things to remember.
Are we in for a soft landing?
Yeah, I think so. There's a few revenue areas. I mean, we spoke about this in a conversation, but there's a few revenue areas that are not quite meeting where I think we thought we would be. But we have some invoices outstanding, a lot of funds coming in, a lot of revenue funds coming in over the next few weeks. I think that will help us get straightened out in a couple of our programs. Large, invoices out for school swim lessons, for high school swim team season, things like that, that help some of those areas kind of grow a little bit. As far as tax revenue, we're right where we kind of thought we would be, or where we should be at this point in the year. I will say I'm pleased, I think the entire district is taking extra effort to manage our expenses and to try to do our part to manage the fiscal position that we're in. It's a tough spot to be in, but we're under budget overall pretty significantly, and we'll need to be even more mindful of that as.
But there may be some additional expenses rolling in this year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
I motion to approve the financials from January 2026.
is there a second?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye. Skylar, old business.
Yeah, typically we get into some of our projects that we're working on, and pleased to share, and I think Celeste and Kyle, you should probably be leading this part of the conversation, but to Catherine and to the public, we've made some really great progress, I think, on our plan for strategic plan. Celeste came up with a great, I think, proposal or concept to help us accelerate, I think, the completion of the strategic plan to capture some what we've already got going. And so I think what we've decided to do is to use the document that we have completed from Scott Edwards Architecture and Sports Facility Company as a master plan, calling it a master plan, and then this group, namely the expertise of Celeste and Kyle and some help and input from other board members and staff to create a strategic plan. And that's the document that's provided in the board packet today, and it's already got a significant amount of work done, and it's really great and awesome. I think the strategic plan, the way I'm understanding it, is going to focus more on our programs, our staff, our culture, where we're headed in the next 5 years, whereas our master plan will focus more on facilities and strategies for improving those facilities, replacing those facilities at the appropriate time, updating the SRC, and how the facilities fit into the strategies of the district. And that those two documents will kind of continue getting updated concurrently over the next couple months, but I think we're all hoping for two awesome documents that will talk to each other for the next few years to be finished soon. I don't know if you guys have a timeline in mind, but I'm kind of hoping for, maybe by the end of the fiscal year. I think it would be super awesome to have both of those documents. That gives us about three or four more months. Celeste and Kyle and I met with Tim Gordon from Scott Edwards Architecture, as well as Sid, one of the principals, and he's great, and he's ready to devote some resources for us. We have I don't know what to call it, a session with them where they're going to come down in person and work with us in April. But what I think we would like to schedule is a board workshop, and we'll have some staff participation as well to answer some questions about the strategic plan and our priorities moving forward. So I think we have some decisions to make on when that will be. feel like I've said a lot, and summarized it as well as I could. I don't know if Kyle or Celeste wants to say anything else.
Was this is Celeste's work, that is not mine, so thank you, Celeste, for putting this forward. But the strategic plan is the umbrella, and underneath that umbrella, you might have a master plan, a financial plan, a human resources plan, a communications plan. I mean, you might have not dozens, but more than a few different kinds of maintenance plans. And I think this gives us the umbrella that we need to manage everything that we do in the district. So Celeste, I'm going to leave it to you, but just so the rest of the board knows and the public knows, this is the work of this lady.
Well, I reformat, but the work was already done in the original. The data was already in the origin documents, right? So I feel like, so this was simply restructuring, doing some analysis and curating what's in here so that it's more consumable by the public. That was the goal of the first part, to summarize the engagement and planning process. The place where there's still a lot of work to do is in the priorities and goals. So I have 5 buckets that I'm proposing based on what was already in the plan. I added a couple more because I felt like it was missing. But it's just a proposal at this point. So I think our workshop, we have some serious work to do, and I've already started developing some tools that we can use, but I think we as a board, with some, whatever staff you think should come to the table, really have some heavy analysis to do to decide what we want to prioritize in 5 years.
Yeah.
So.
That's
Yeah.
That's for the workshop.
That's for the workshop, yeah. So what is listed in here is simply copy and paste from the old plan. It's not what I think should be necessary. But it has
at
a
the
good
workshop, we fill in the blanks.
We can fill in the blanks.
I mean, this is the framework.
It's the framework,
And
exactly.
then we fill in the blanks on the framework to make it a robust
I
plan.
like this format. I think you did a great job. so
Good.
far. Yeah. And then it's a book.
Makes it easier to remember.
Do we need to drill down into this, or that's?
I don't think I'm a little,
Workshop.
like, I don't think
I
it's
think
even
so,
ready
too.
for prime time at all for people. Like, this still needs,
You're just showing us how.
It's just the framework.
What framework we're gonna use,
it's
okay.
to help us envision what we're aiming for.
So we have a couple dates coming up. March 10th and March 17th are proposed for potential workshop. That will be here.
It could be here, it could be at the SRC, it could be virtual, whatever format fits the board. I think
That's a work session, so that it'll be public.
Yeah, anytime that
Important.
a majority of the board is going to meet to talk about board business, it needs to be. So yeah, we would probably label it a public workshop,
Mhm.
and you wouldn't probably take any action unless you wanted to have an additional board meeting and maybe interview like a budget committee candidate at one of those dates.
That would be preferable rather than having 2 separate meetings, right?
Usually what we do is just make our March meeting longer.
Yeah.
And do the
Oh,
interviews
okay.
before our actual board meeting.
Okay.
Can you remind me when the meeting was set? I know that we said that, do you recall?
That is,
I believe it's April,
7th?
I was going to say, yes,
Yeah.
it is a step, correct.
Okay.
So we would want, obviously this workshop would occur sometime in March. We have a regular meeting on the 31st of March. We could meet in a workshop for part of that meeting, or just have a lengthier discussion and invite staff to participate. Or we could do a different date or time in March.
I would prefer a different date. I'd like to solely focus on
On this.
just the strategy.
Yeah.
So, for myself, I have an appointment up until about 6 on the 10th and 3 on the 17th. I don't, of course, really celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
But I would propose, since we are only 3 maybe just having Skylar reach out to find, I mean, whatever date works for us, but just making sure it works for them too, not just arbitrarily picking a date and saying be there, be there.
Yeah,
I would say
I agree.
the 17th is also my preferred date if it's possible, so I will just put, if you want to take notes.
Put
But
that in pencil, and then
Yeah,
it works for,
But I do think it's important to have some key staff, because I think we need to be able to pull information, like, including like today. Like, this has me thinking about what our priorities have to be in terms of childcare and getting, so we need to be able to ask information of
But-
staff.
Yeah, they are the key drivers of the strategy, really.
I think so too. I think
I mean,
as board members, we need to be able to ask some smart questions to be able to help them put it into a framework of priorities.
I mean, if everybody's as knowledgeable as Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Man, we should get some good feedback. So Skylar, I'm at, it works for me, I'm at the swimming sections in Federal Way. So that's done on the 15th, so as long as there's no snowstorm, I'll be fine.
okay. Are we envisioning a regular start time of 5:15 p.m., or would you want to move that earlier, or?
Can we kind of jump and ask about the budget, how many vacancies do we have, and,
Right now, we have one vacancy.
okay.
That's what I anticipate all the 4 other budget committee members have all confirmed. that
Have
they-
we started advertising on that?
Yeah.
Okay. So
We might have done this, had this discussion after you had to leave last
yeah.
week. But yeah, we posted the opportunity, and we've had posters and
When
social
did-
media, and we have it closes on Friday, March 6th. And we have
Okay.
one candidate thus far that has submitted, and they appear to be really, from what they submitted, maybe a really good fit. But sometimes there's more and sometimes there's not.
Okay. I mean, for myself, I, in theory, get off work at 4, so I, could be here 4:30, gotta run and grab the kids and drop them off, but, if we wanted to start early to do interviews and knock the budget process out, as well as do the workshop, or, flip that, do the workshop, so that staff don't have to stick around forever, and then do budget interviews.
What I don't want to do is mix up our strategy meeting with other stuff.
Can we do the budget interviews as part of our board meeting on the 31st?
That's what we usually do. And we
Yeah,
can-
I prefer that, yeah.
Okay.
So
just having the
5:15,
workshop?
First section of the,
Workshop alone on March 17th, and starting at
4:30?
4:30,
4:30 to 7?
4:30.
penciling in 4:30 to 7 as a, okay,
We bring in some stuff?
yeah.
we need to feed people if we.
Well, I mean, if we only have one interview person, like, we can start
No,
break.
for the workshop.
Oh, for the workshop. Okay, 4:30 to 7 for the workshop.
That is a good point. If you only have one budget committee candidate and only one vacancy, then do you need, do you even need to interview them? You could just
Yeah, I think
appoint-
it's a good practice.
appoint them.
I think we should.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, let's plan on that, March 17th. I will invite staff, and maybe, Celeste, maybe you and I can connect before then on what we can do to be prepared
Yeah,
internally.
we can
for
do that, we can provide
having like
something.
the questions answers to the questions that will probably come up.
Yeah.
Great. I'm ready to move on if there's no more discussion or updates about strategic plan.
Yeah, I was just getting it in my calendar. The 17th, and show
To be
them.
confirmed, no. Correct.
The problem is I hate driving on the 17th.
St. Patrick's Day, oh,
Yeah.
that's true, yeah.
Just can't trust who's out
I don't have hard, so.
there. Okay, Stan?
Short update on occupancy process. We were expecting to receive our testing and balancing report, and we haven't. We talked to the contractor last week. They said it should be done, but we still haven't got it. And so we're still in a little bit of a holding pattern. That's kind of the last piece of leverage that we wanted to present to the city and say, here's what we have, here's where the building's deficient, here's our plan for operating the building. Can we have at least a temporary, maybe a permanent certificate? Everything else I think is going well. We're still in regular communication with the city, with the building department, the building official, and the city manager. We're being really transparent in that process, and they are back. So I think improvements, there's been a lot of improvement to just the general feelings of support with the city on getting this document. Short update also on SDCs. After talking with our friends at the Bowman Group, they advised us that it would be in our best interest to open up another 90-day hearing period. I kind of shared that was a likely possibility at the January meeting, so we've opened that up. We will have the public hearing on May 26th, but as far as staff are concerned, what we're presenting to move forward with would be imposing an SDC based on square footage and working with our partners that will help us gather that SDC or collect that SDC to implement that as soon as possible. I'm hoping for a July 1st start to that collection.
Is there a time required between the public hearing and when we implement?
No.
I may have missed this, apologies if I did, but did we get what that per square foot, what
We
the
did.
schedule would be?
Yeah.
The numbers,
Yeah, I
You
have
have
the
that?
numbers. It was part of our
Was that last?
yeah,
board meeting?
discussion.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, sorry, Celeste.
That's okay.
I can get that to you
okay.
if you don't already have it somewhere else. So just updating you on that, we'll have a revised methodology. It'll look really similar, but we've already posted the hearing notice, which we were required to do, and kind of jumping through all the other conditions that the ORS requires us to do for that imposed SDC timeline. The only other item under old business was just a discussion about women's locker room flooring, or an update. I don't necessarily have any significant updates from what I'm paying even more careful attention to incidents and accident reports that we might get from this area, and I haven't received one. We did have a little sounds like a little slip last week with a kiddo enrolled in our preschool. They go swim periodically, but it wasn't because of the floor, it was because of some unsafe behavior.
Horseplay.
Yeah, some horseplay in the space. The signs that we posted seem to have been received well. When we had the opportunity to have special districts conference, Kyle and Mike and the pool manager from the Greater Toledo Aquatic Park and Recreation District in Toledo, outside of Newport. I think it's outside of Newport, or it's outside of Lincoln City. Came and viewed and walked through our locker room spaces, and we talked and kind of compared notes. And I think maybe it was one of the first times that Kyle's been able, and others have been in the space. It was before we opened on Saturday morning, so the space was dry and clean, and it presented itself well. But that's the only update I have, only that we're monitoring carefully. I think if there was a $5 million capital fund that we could tap into for renovating our locker room spaces, this would probably be an option for us to renovate. But we just, as you all know, we're kind of pretty strapped on capital investment right now with the investment we've made in the SRC and some other liabilities that we have. So I don't know if you have anything else.
I do want to add a couple things, and this is for Marty. I apologize because you're probably not going to hear what you want to hear, but I got down on my hands and knees on the floor and really inspected it, and it's that heavy sand finish. And if I think I'm pretty accurate, that is probably the highest friction coefficient we have of any flooring in the entire district. I can't imagine making those bumps bigger or sharper, it would hurt kids' feet. And so I think we may not be able to do much with the floor itself until the pool gets replaced. But I think we can maybe do some things operationally to keep it clean and maybe inspect it more often. But I don't see that any physical change to the floor itself is gonna significantly change the likelihood of slips and falls. I
I'm
just
curious,
don't see it.
I'm wondering if any of our public commenters or anybody else, has anybody been able to point to somebody else who does have a solution?
We checked with the park district managers, and everyone we found, we asked, what do you we got a problem with our floor, do you have any ideas? And they're I'm guessing a good share of them are using the same floor we do.
So it's industry standard, what we're using?
Yeah, it is. I mean, there seems to be a fair amount of the older style pools that have just bare concrete.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what is the surface in a lot of the women's locker room. And that's what used to be the surface before we put this composite down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the facilities that are being built, almost all of them have some sort of this composite with, some texture added. And even the ones that are new or have renovated their locker room spaces, floors, they're all having around the similar rates of slips and falls. And I think it's just a hazardous space when we have kids and older people that are often more at risk for those types of slips and falls.
And I think the problem is, and what some of the park district managers said, many of the park district managers said that they've had to ban conditioner from the women's shower. I'm not there yet. I think it's hard when you have women showering and then going to work versus going home or something. I don't know if I want to take their products away from them. But
Well, a lot of the parents use after swim time as this is your bath, so they do the whole routine there.
But that means if we don't limit the use of product, and I'm not recommending that we do, then we have to have some way to get that product off the floor.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe if we just had a hose bit there with
Which there is a hose.
yeah, they should be able to hose it off. But
But that doesn't cover, it seems like, or maybe I'm misunderstanding, I thought the slippery part was when you're coming into the locker room.
Well,
Let's go transitioning, I believe, from the shower area to the locker area.
bare concrete.
That section in front of the sinks, basically.
Ah.
And a lot, I don't know, I've been in there a lot over the years, and a lot of it is, you've got a lot of kids and parents and elderly, but the kids make a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And they are, I've had to yell at kids, they're not my own, hey, stop playing in the soap.
Yeah.
Stop throwing the shampoo.
So it's that
at each other.
intersection that all the gunk is ending up in that
Accumulating,
intersection.
and then people are walking from the showers or the restroom across that to go to the lockers.
Which is something to keep in mind during design, when we can renovate, like whether or not the position of the
Yeah.
showers
Flow.
flows. So it's not
Well,
to
yeah,
create that.
design it so that you limit the amount of back and forth
Yeah.
people go, but then it transitions to bare concrete, which is bad too. So. But that's where I am. Skylar is on it in terms of figuring out ways where we can keep that clean, so.
The other concern Marty had was like puddling, which probably comes with, an older building and just natural, like, floor compression and whatnot. Do we have some sort of routine of like squeegee the floor, is that like a hourly?
We can't squeegee that part. We can squeegee the bare concrete, and we do. We can brush like with a push broom, and I think we do that.
Or like a shop vac,
I mean, like drying it, like sucking.
just sucking up the puddles,
Yeah. From from my experience, the puddling, I don't know, maybe it doesn't help, but I think, the difference between when it's dry and when it's even just a little bit wet, that makes a big difference, but the difference between when it's wet and when there's puddling is pretty much the same. So it's like, when it's dry, it's like, it's hard to imagine slipping, it's hard to imagine a safer surface, but as soon as it gets a little bit wet, which is after, one shower, even less
And
than
then
that.
when you put product on top of it.
I just had a thought. We've talked about the crosswalk, yes, and visual, we had talked about doing like different paint things to the floor to make people slow down. Could we paint like speed bumps or
Or if that's the area, I don't know if there's skid strips, right, like.
Yeah.
Well,
The called skid tape, grip tape?
Yeah.
Grip tape, I think is what it's called.
Tread tape.
That's probably our next step.
Yeah.
What we did initially in December was install new signs, new colors, kind of, advising people of the danger of the area, asking them politely to consider not using as much product, or being really mindful about the product. To my knowledge, we haven't had slips and falls. I don't think it's a result of the signs necessarily, but I think the grip tape is our planned next step, where I think the reason why we haven't applied that yet is because from other pools that have used that, it only lasts for a couple weeks in that type of environment, and when you remove it, the floor in that area, the texture is pretty significantly damaged.
Yeah.
So it's like you either have to just put it in the same spot over and over, or.
It pulls up the floor.
Yeah.
Well, but it doesn't, the adhesive doesn't last in a puddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I think we should hold off on anything that might damage the floor until we can figure out if there's a reasonable way to keep it clean.
But I'm curious, like, applying some paint, like.
Paint is slick.
Whoa. Yeah, but there's gotta be, we painted the floor or something.
It's a motion activated yellow flashing light or something. It's, something to cause
Do one
people
of those,
to.
like, you're going too fast,
Oh,
slow
yeah.
down.
Those radar things.
We should do another.
Walk here. I mean, it's not a bad idea, we'll get people to pay attention, actually. I also wonder, is there a solution where you cut out a section of the floor and place a grate over the top of it so that it actually serves as a drain?
Yeah, part of the reason why, when we did the flooring that's in there now is to actually grate the floor. When it was bare concrete in the shower area, we didn't have great drainage, and the pooling water was significant. It was, over an inch deep in a couple of areas. So the contractor's responsibility was to grate the floor, and they did that pretty well. They're still puddling, of course, but
It all goes to a central drain,
Yeah.
right, before we have.
Oh, but I meant, so you're talking about grading the floor, but I meant like
a French drain type kind of thing.
or just like an
long strip.
empty space,
Yeah, I hear you.
and then you put a grate on top of it, like a metal,
Everything
a grate, so
falls
that
through.
everything falls
Yeah.
through,
Yeah.
and that it's a grate, and people with bare feet walk slowly across grates, because
Yeah, I think that's
it's not so fantastic on your feet.
that
it would
feels
be
like,
But that's a major, I mean, that would
yeah,
be
a major renovation.
But if you knew,
potentially,
if it was a limited area,
Mhm.
that whether or not it would help, and it might solve the pooling problem at the same time, as long as the contractor can get it to drain.
Yeah. I honestly think the best, I think it's commendable, the amount of time that the board has invested in this topic, and I think the most informed perspective that you can take is by being in the space. And so I really appreciate the folks that have been in the space. I know Sue's in the space, I know Catherine's in the space, I know Mike and Kyle came and toured the space. Celeste, if you want to come see the space,
I've been swimming a couple of times, so I've
Sweet.
actually
So you're
been in there. I
welcome.
didn't notice that it was slippery.
And
I've
if
been there, but
there's other times of day that you want to come capture it, if it's after swim lesson time, like Catherine was talking about, maybe that's more evidence. The majority of our slips are not at that time, which is
Well,
interesting. or maybe they're not being reported.
They are definitely not being reported.
Well, I think,
because they're kids and they're sliding and their parents are yelling at them,
Yeah.
stop running and,
Yeah.
you know, yes, my children have done it too, so. And I didn't report it.
How dare you?
Well,
Hey,
you know, actions have consequences. So when you are being told, don't run in the locker room, and then you run and slip and that. Have you seen this?
You sent me, some products.
No,
that-
this
for
is
the
different.
grade.
This is for a grade.
It's on a full deck, but
Yeah, I have seen that.
But it's graded, it's a grade with a drain underneath.
Really well, yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah,
like grates that you walk off, where
yeah.
there's place for the water to drain underneath.
What is the space under the floor? Is there?
Plenum space, it's called.
I don't actually know. Yeah, sorry.
I don't know.
Any other comments on the pool floor or the shower room floor?
No, but thanks to your team too for working on it. I know we as a board have been concerned.
It's been a niggling issue
Yeah.
for months now,
Years.
maybe even longer.
As long as I have been on the board. As long as I've been on the
Well,
board.
hopefully we can put this thing to rest and not have to look at alterations to the structure of the shower. Budget committee vacancy updates, kind of.
Oh, yeah,
We've already heard about
kind
that.
of shared, but yeah, we'll plan on doing, interviews, on that March 31st board meeting date. And if we have more applicants, and I will share, kind of a full packet of information regarding the applicants, after the application period closes next Friday. Again, if you have other contacts, please send them if you think there's a good budget committee member out there. The next item I shared, trying to be transparent for several reasons, but one, we've enjoyed the services of Eileen for a few years. I think we first utilized her at a time where, I guess from my perspective, the district was in a pretty perilous and challenging situation, and she was very skilled and adept at helping us navigate that challenge at the time, and has helped us in a number of ways. We do have legal counsel through SDAO, but the majority of the attorney that we work with, his name's Spencer Rockwell. He's great and knows what we're doing and stuff like that, and I talk to him at least once a week probably. His consultation is more for what SDAO terms pre-loss legal services, so helping us identify situations with employees in particular is one that he's really helpful on. When it comes to policy and when it comes to intergovernmental agreements or other types of agreements, we typically use Eileen, or sometimes we exceed the scope of what Spencer feels comfortable with, and so he encourages us to use someone else, and Eileen's been great. It sounds like from the letter that she's taken her services to a bigger firm that does a lot of local government work, and it doesn't change much for us if you read through what they proposed. It does increase the rate that we would be billed when we do utilize her. Right now, her current rate is $280. For her previous rate was $285 an hour, and it would increase to $350. Again, we don't use her that much. I think you asked for an estimate of how much a year.
Yeah, but, you know, when she hung out her own shingle, she had to do everything herself. All of her typing and filing and everything. Now she's got assistants at a lower rate. So I think we may actually get more work and than we do now for the same or lesser rate. It shouldn't
Would
be
take as long to do things.
Well, if she has a paralegal do it, it's $150, and, you know, secretarial help, they can do it, other stuff. Maybe it'll be the same.
From my perspective, I've personally dealt with her twice that I can remember. Once where she came and sat in on a board meeting to provide perspective, and another where she conducted a training, and I found her very knowledgeable and professional, and she's a great asset to our district, so.
Well, do I have a conflict? So when Eileen first got out of law school, she came over for our district as a corporate attorney. And we worked on some projects very, very closely together, but I don't think that should exclude me. No, I don't have any financial gains, but,
Just knowledge.
just knowledge, and I don't know that I know the firm Cable Houston, but I've heard of them. They're a common firm of them. So, and also, I don't think we need to bid on attorney services, engineering, architects, that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah, we don't.
We can just, do we need to approve the agreement?
That's what I'm bringing it to you for. I think, it's just to ensure that that's something that the district board wants to continue supporting. And if it was the direction of the board, we could go out for an RFP or propose, try to, find a different provider, but I think it would leave us in a perilous situation without someone
Yeah,
like maybe.
I'm not intending, I don't wanna go out
I
to bid.
feel like that's not even like a request for proposal in this, like you want someone you know.
That knows you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. But I just wanted to know if we had to go out to bid. I don't think we did. So the chair will entertain a motion.
I move to, approve the proposed, contract with Cable Houston.
Cable Houston,
I would second.
yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. All right, to the last part of our meeting here, I don't have an update on much of our goals besides what we've already been working on. Regarding, item B, last month the board approved some small changes to our public comment process, and I've implemented those changes. We had a new public comment statement to read tonight, but we didn't have any public comment. I've also created, if you look at the board website, you'll see some new information on there regarding public comment and how to submit it online, what some of our rules are, and you can actually sign up to submit public comment virtually, which I think will add a safeguard for when we have virtual public comment. Lately, what we've been doing is just accepting everybody into the Zoom link. But I think, as I mentioned, that is probably not in the best practices of the district because meetings can be hijacked or taken over, Zoom bombed, as other public agencies have seen. Yeah. So pleased with that, and thank you for your engagement on that topic.
We got Zoom on.
But what was the controversy that they were listening to?
It was just a regular, as far as I understand, it was a regular meeting and they had, some folks join and they did some very inappropriate things.
That's bad.
And they didn't have a way to keep it.
Item C, yeah, so almost like last week, it was a few weeks ago, we were able to host the special district conference in Seaside. Kyle participated, Mike kind of, hope he's not offended by me saying this, but he snuck his way into, I think, participating a little bit, even though he wasn't necessarily registered ahead of time, and I put him on the waiting list, but I don't think they had openings, but he's such a known commodity in special districts.
That's
I
hilarious.
think they figured out a way to support his participation. But anyways, we had a really good conference. I went to some really, really good sessions. We had a good park and recreation caucus meeting. We were able to Kyle actually posed a question about our locker room space, and then we hosted this colleague of ours from Toledo. We also hosted a bunch of folks at the SRC to play pickleball on Friday and Saturday mornings. That was fun. And we hosted or facilitated a 5K run walk for participants. We had about 10 or 12 participants on Friday when the weather was really nice, and if you remember Saturday, the weather had turned pretty significantly, so we only had, I think, 3 or 4 participants that morning. I don't know if Kyle has anything to offer, but I thought it was a great conference, and what about when they come here, save us some money?
Oh, yeah, well, I like it too, it's very convenient. I don't like sleeping in a hotel bed if I can avoid it. So I thought they did a really good job of laying out some of the legislative bills that are coming through here in the short session, maybe the longer session. A lot of activity around the transportation bill. A lot of, for park, the big one is park immunity, and especially outdoor trails and things like that. I found all of the speakers pretty darn good, all the ones that I've listened to. And I hope, Skylar, that you can encourage them to continue with here, because might be inconvenient for others, but it was pretty
I
good for
think
us.
actually people generally like coming here. Yeah. It is difficult for, the southern and eastern northern districts to get to, but people like the convention center, people like having the option of multiple hotels, whereas at some conferences you kind of have to stay in that hotel or on property somewhere. Having that flexibility. Yeah, lots of stuff to do here. Plus we had, like I said, we had really good weather for like that whole week until Saturday.
Yeah.
It's February.
It was well attended.
Sold out.
It was sold out. It was more well attended than I anticipated.
Yeah. I think there was over 550 people that registered.
Well, thanks for handling my registration and everything.
The only special event that we have coming up in the near future is the family dance. I included the flyer. I'm sorry, I didn't think about the printing. It doesn't look great, but it's a really cool flyer if it's color. And I want to recognize our sponsors. We've gotten really great sponsorship from Pacific Power, but also Columbia Bank and Susanna Lease. And then our March board meeting date, sounds like we'll have a workshop potentially on March 17th, but that March board meeting date, that's the 5th Tuesday of March, not the 4th as traditional. So just a reminder on that date because of spring break. So for my report, unless there's questions or other things that the board would.
Board comment, Catherine.
Congratulations, Lauren Fisher. Thank you to Mackenzie Greenwell for a great presentation. And thank you to Rick from Kernan Thompson for completing a great audit and for working with us last year.
Welcome, congratulations on his retirement.
Yeah.
Retirement from us.
Yeah. I feel like we're losing a lot of legacy people that I've been, as long as I've been on, have been with us. Like, does that mean it's time for me to go?
No, not as long as I'm here.
Anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Catherine.
My only comment is, I do feel like we have some long drawn out processes or projects going on, including like the SRC. We've been talking about SECs for a long time. We have a strategic plan, and I'm just excited that we keep plugging away and that we're going to make progress and we're going to check them off the list.
Planes are landing.
Yeah.
Is Mike still on?
No.
He texted that he wasn't feeling well, so I had to leave.
Congratulations to Lauren and Mackenzie. Mackenzie, that was a really awesome presentation. I'm really happy that we have the people with skills that you have to boost our team. Celeste, I'd like to thank you for the work you've done on this. We're all volunteers, but you took volunteers into a new height by putting this together, making it
I'm happy that we have a plan.
No, but I mean, the strategy is important to me, and the work that you did is going to make things a lot easier. For the public that happens to be watching this, we have an opening in our budget committee, and we're looking for budget committee members. So if you see this and you have the skills, sign up or talk to Skylar. Finally, Skylar, you said one thing that just triggered something in my mind, or maybe it was Catherine, something about an industry standard. So I believe somewhere there's an industry standard for shower floors. Mm-hmm. It comes from the building code from ANSI, from the plumbing code, from somewhere, there's an industry standard. And it would be nice if we were armed with that, long term, just to make sure that we met the minimum
Yeah.
criteria for the thing. So that's all I have to say. The next meeting is March 31st, or March 31st.
Regular board meeting.
Regular board meeting, March 31st.
Yep.
Any other comments from the board? It's 7:28 and the meeting is adjourned. I don't have to vote on a meeting adjournment.
You did great, Kyle.
I could just
You're
say,
coming right along.
Yahoo, well, I need more help, so don't be afraid to.
Recording stopped.
And Jam,
Yes.
so excited, it feels like
I'm
a
gonna go
bonus prize.
pop an English muffin.
I know, me
because
too.
I-
Sounds so good.